Hello guys, welcome back to All the Gear, No Idea. It's the 40th anniversary since he won the FA Cup back in 1980, and I'm joined by birthday boy today, JP from JPWHUTV. He's 40 today. What a day to be 40, and what a guest to have on the show. Right, let's get on with it. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Three Hammers, All the Gear, No Idea. I am joined by JP. He's got his original shirt on. I've got the modern day tribute to it. What a day. Great to finally have you on, mate. Finally got you on. Our schedules finally matched up. I know you wanted me on your show later, but I did say that I'm available now. So it's great to have you on. For anyone who don't know you, mate, introduce yourself, and platform's yours, mate.
Thanks, Luke, and thank you very much for welcoming me on. Yes, I say it was interesting. My name's John from where are we down here from JPWHUTV, the real JPWHUTV for that matter, not the little troll that's been going around saying various things for the last 5 to 6 weeks. But Luke, as you mentioned, today is my 40th birthday. I was born on the day we won the FA Cup, literally a few hours later. It's a very long, intrinsic story with West Ham. Fourth generation supporter, literally my great granddad. Back in the day when, like for example, the day that I was born, when we were at the FA Cup final, the guys at the pre and halftime show were the Coldstream Guards band. If anyone's got the DVD, you see these guys all suited and booted with their bearskins walking off. That was going to be my dad. My dad played that. For pretty much for a lot of the 70s and 80s, was given compassionate leave for the FA Cup final against Arsenal because Mum was in labour with me. His band sergeant major wasn't happy with it, so he put him on kit duty for 2 weeks after that. But yeah, West Ham's been through my life all the way, literally from day one. I do think I'm a bit of a jinx as a result of it because we've done nothing pretty much apart from the old friendly cup and obviously a few playoff finals. That's all we've won, really, unfortunately. But yeah, it's good to finally talk to you properly on your channel because you went on my channel for Man City.
Yeah. It's good fun. Yeah, so that leads in quite well to the first thing I thought we'd talk about, mate. So 40 years since we won anything. How many more years do you think before we do see anything?
Not to sound too much like an old man, mate, but I want to see us win something before I croak, you know?
No, mate, that's right. That's right.
I honestly think that without proper investment, I'm not saying hundreds of millions of pounds, but decent players and a decent manager, I don't think we're going to win anything for a long time, mate. How are you feeling about it?
I've got to say I agree with you, mate. I can't see anywhere where we're going to win a cup competition, and now the cups are so, they're sort of discredited now, aren't they? You've got these managers like your Allardyces, like your Moyes, that don't take them as serious, and I think the league position means so much more now, these managers, rather than a day out for us.
Well, yeah, it's a shame because it's like with any cup, even teams that are in the league, the league cups, mate. It's a big important cup until you get knocked out, and then all of a sudden it's a Mickey Mouse Cup. But the FA Cup.
Richie there, sorry. Come on, Luke. We won the Betway Trophy in the Inter 2 Bowl. we did. That was my lifetime.
True, yeah. But the FA Cup, I think one of the reasons why the league doesn't hold it in as much high esteem as it used to is because there's not as much money as in it as it used to be in comparison to the leagues. Back in the late 80s, early 90s, the FA Cup final was a day. It was literally from 7 o'clock in the morning till well after the game finished. Nowadays, you're lucky to get 2 hours worth of TV broadcast before the game starts, and it's on BT for that matter. So a lot of people can't watch it. So it's a real shame, but it's still something that I really hold close to my heart, big time.
So if we say instead of winning something, then what about a Champions League place or something like that? Like, what would be your priority? What would you like to see more?
Well, I think Sofian, who's in the chat at the minute, he asked me that question a few days ago on the daily live streams that I'm doing every evening. He's not far off. I know he was a teenager somewhere, but yeah, he asked get a Champions, stay up and have a Champions League final, or win the FA Cup and get relegated. Mate, it's the FA Cup all day long for me.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, as nice as it would be to have a Champions League memory
or run, yeah.
In our case, it will literally be a memory. One of them. It would be nice to have something in the cabinet and say, it's the 4th time we've won it.
Yeah, I don't think you can't put a price on a day out and an actual trophy. No one can take that away from you. Then you've won it. Your name's on it. I've just always had this dream of playing Barcelona, a stadium, and just having that moment. Or if you're lucky enough to get a ticket to go to the Nou Camp or the Bernabeu and see us play there, I was very jealous of my mate. He was a Leeds fan when we was at school. We was like 15, and he went to the Bernabeu to see Leeds versus Real Madrid.
Wow.
It's one of them, like, just love that moment, to see West Ham play in a stadium of that prestige.
You never know, mate. We, in a few years' time, we might get the International Claret and Blue Derby. It would be quite cool to see it. Mate, yeah, don't get me wrong. I was in me and my ex. We went to Barcelona 3 years ago, and the weekend we went, unfortunately, Barcelona were away, which is I really, really hated. But I would have loved to have just gone there and watched it as a tourist, and forever criticise everyone else for that matter. Because that's what happens. You go to a different country, you go to see a football game, especially when it comes to Barcelona or Real Madrid. But yeah, I know what you mean. I'd love to see West Ham in the Bernabeu someday. It'd be fantastic.
Just get to the bloody group stage of the Europa League would be enough for me. Just so we're guaranteed like 6 to 8 games in the competition.
As Dom, I'm sure will attest. As long as they don't get Astra Gugu again, I think we're fine.
On the cups, then, mate. So, I know we haven't got many, but what are your memories of FA Cup or League Cup, like that are great memories of yours? I know it's very bleak. We've got the Liverpool loss. For me, Dimitri Payet's free kick a couple of years ago, one of the best free kicks, and I just remember how crazy I went. One of my memories as well, I don't know whether you all remember it, is the Tottenham game where Stuart Pearce scored a free kick.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've never heard Upton Park louder than that. That was just unbelievable. Just scenes, chaos. What about you, mate?
Well, I've got great memories and great memories at the same time. Like for example, the great memories of getting to the FA Cup final in 2006. That was just, I couldn't believe what we were doing, especially bearing in mind, pretty much doing the equivalent of what Wolves were doing. Come back straight into the Premier League, and we're down to the FA Cup final. Bad memories, sitting watching it at home with a pillow like that, with the penalties, and same likewise with England versus Portugal a couple of months later, exactly the same thing. But I mean, obviously, in the more recent great memories is Macclesfield Town. That result, that was unbelievable.
Yeah.
That was a great. I mean, the atmosphere wasn't brilliant, but to see us score 8 goals,
just be
in
rude,
one night.
Yeah.
It was just. I mean, it normally takes us a month to score 8 goals. So it was. No, that was. But I'd say for FA Cup final aside, and that stupid error, that 30 seconds of lapsing of the ball being given to Gerrard, they are my best memories because it's the closest we've got, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, one of my greatest, again, we wasn't close that year, but we probably should have gone on and won it. It was my 16th birthday at Old Trafford, and Paolo Di Canio versus Bartes. I was there. Just unbelievable moment. Everyone looked over at the linesman. 10,000 people just went like that. In just absolute pandemonium. It was a surreal thing I've ever experienced in a football stadium. It's like, what is going on here? And we beat, at the time, that was top Man United team. That was the best Man United team back then.
Really, and we still sing that song still to this day, don't we?
Yeah.
We'll do the Bartes. Still sing it.
In terms of other memories, again, for Cup, not so much FA Cup, as more League Cup, is the Manayomi Wemi one. The Aston Villa one, again, that as well. That year we were so close. We were so close. That was a game before the semi-final, so quarter-final. Obviously, Omawimi come on, didn't even touch the ball. believe. You know, we was knocked out the cup, and the replay still have visions of Paolo Di Canio's face when he missed the penalty, like in terms of pain as a child. About 15 when that happened, it was just awful.
And also, likewise for me, mate, was the League Cup under Avram Grant. Both legs in the semi, man. That was
permanent. Semi-final.
It was, yeah. I was there for both. I was there for the home, and I went up to the away ground. That was a bloody cold day that day. Jesus Christ, that was unbelievably cold. But yeah, almost cruising into the second leg of that, and then just absolutely screwed it.
I believe, wasn't it? I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Crazy. That was my birthday. That was as well. 6th of January. I remember it. It was like we've got to either be in the final or go out here. It just always goes. We usually go out on my birthday as well. When you have you always go out on my birthday.
I remember you saying
when I met you.
You did, yeah.
Yeah. Moving on. So not only is it the anniversary of that, mate, it's the anniversary of this as well. Last game at Upton Park.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to flash a photo up. This is one of my favourite photos I've ever taken, to be honest. That was the last night at Upton Park. Just got so many memories. It's just a great photo. I love that photo. What a day that was, mate. What a day. It was just surreal. I always say, just walking around the car park, there's Matthew Upton, there's Jamie Redknapp, there's Trevor Brooking, there's Ian Bishop. It was just a surreal moment. What are your memories from that day, mate?
It's one of massive, because that was my 36th, which in a way was quite, what's the word I'm thinking of? It was quite surreal having a birthday at the last ever game. Really quite a surreal feeling. So it's the only birthday I've ever had where I was unbelievably nervous. The amount of drink we went through that day to try and get my nerves down was unreal. Really, really good day. I remember because I was working in the morning, so I took the afternoon off. Literally went straight to the Supporters Club, God rest his soul, and we just had a few beers and just soaked up the atmosphere, and like everybody else did, and bloody Green Street and Barking Road was just mental, absolutely mental. And then obviously, you know, pure poetry from one point of view, the way that the game went. Absolutely.
You couldn't have asked for a game to go a better way, really, could you? For Sky Sports, you know, that is how they would have wanted to play out, how we wanted to play out.
Winning it, losing it, winning it. You know, it was just, it was incredible.
You say with the nerves. The only other game I was nervous, like literally to nearly being sick, the Tottenham game. It was like, we cannot lose this game. We can't have what we have over Arsenal. Us, you know, like we were the last day of the beat. Yeah, that's the only game I genuinely felt like I was going to be sick. Okay,
yeah,
it's just awful. It's just a great day, great season. Will we ever get one like that again for a while?
I hope we will, but like we were saying earlier, mate, it just all depends on getting the right investments on all levels. If we do, then we stand a very good chance. I mean, let's not forget, you know, pre Premier League days, there wasn't as much money in football as there was now, and likewise, obviously, the wages weren't as high as they are now. But everybody had a better crack at the whip. You know, how close did we come in the 85-86 season to winning the title?
I was still tadpole then, swimming around my dad.
But do you know what I mean? That just shows the complete difference in how the game's gone, not just in the monetary way of it, but the way that the game's played in general, the way that just everything's totally changed over the last 30 years now, and even in the last 20 years. Football's just been it's another level, and it's situations like this. I hate to say it, but it's situations like this where we're all in, where it actually shows that football's not really that important. There's more important things.
I know, like me and you know, we love doing these videos and talking about West Ham, and it's something we have real passion for. Otherwise, we wouldn't do our channel. Do you know what I mean? But
exactly.
When it's not there, I've got to say, it's like I have missed it. I've missed the routine of it, but I wouldn't say I've actually missed football as such. You know?
Yeah,
it's a strange one. It is really strange.
I mean, from my background, I was talking to my mum. Phoned me this morning. Actually, we were having a nice little catch up. With my personal history of football, even though it's from my mum's point of view, she hated football. My dad hated football, so I never really grew up with football properly until about 20 years ago. So I grew up without having that match day routine that a lot of people do, and that I had for the length of time, and still had before all this happened. I'm not missing it because my blood pressure is a lot lower than it normally is around about this time of the year, so I'm loving it from that side of things. But yeah, I do miss the buzz of a match day, and I miss waking up thinking, Christ, it's weird, but I wake up most mornings thinking we're going to get absolutely slaughtered. And
I think it's more of the I think I heard Nicky say it actually on West Ham Fan TV. It's more of the camaraderie of the match day. People you see, you go and have a drink, you go and have a laugh with your mates, than the actual football itself. You miss. It's more the day in general.
I mean, you take Liverpool at home when we lost 1-0. I don't know anyone, literally anybody, that wanted to go to the game to watch the football. We all there. We went to have a few beers and have a bit of a crack with our mates. That was it. And then all of a sudden we started playing. Well, I thought, actually, now, okay, I'm enjoying this now. But that's one thing that the Premier League and the government and everybody else needs to remember, is that football's about community. It's not about a paycheck.
That's right, mate. Let's move on, actually, about Premier League return. Obviously, first guest I've ever had on, actually, to talk about it. I've talked about it with Lee a little bit. But what do you make, mate, of, it looks more and more likely that it is going to come back now. And obviously, we've moved on quite a lot from when it first was announced. Some of the ideas touted around neutral grounds, limited times, 5 substitutions, etc., etc. What do you make of it, mate? What do you like, and which one benefits West Ham the most? I would say if it was to come back, because we've got to be a bit selfish here.
Mate, nothing's going to benefit us if it comes back.
I am genuinely scared.
Yeah.
Whatever way it comes back, West Ham are going down. I am that pessimistic.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, there's been a few theories about points per game. I agree with the calculation with how the French league did it. That a lot less complicated than it's a little bit more complicated than the way that the Athletic published yesterday, and Gio's great video about it, about the amount of points home and away and all that sort of stuff. Yes, that relegates us. I've always said right from the start that we should just stop the season. Don't void it, but just take the table as it was, because we had three quarters of the league played. Just have the bottom 3 go, and Liverpool are champions, and likewise bring up West Brom and Leeds. But the problem is, where do we calculate for those that are in the playoffs positions? That takes a big.
I think Champions League places as well.
Yeah, exactly.
If I was Wolves, if we were Wolves right now, or Sheffield United, really a good chance of getting Champions League football next year. How would you feel then? Yeah, if West Ham were Wolves now, what would your opinion be then?
Mate, even if we were sitting 20th, I'll be saying exactly the same thing, because it's the most logical. It doesn't affect anybody. Getting players back in, which is by all accounts the government's idea of not really the Premier League. It just shows you how out of touch our government system is, unfortunately, because if they were listening to the people that put them in the places they are in the first place, they wouldn't be doing this stuff. They would be doing what happens in France. But that's what the situation is. So neutral grounds isn't brilliant. I can understand why. What was it? 8 of the 20 teams don't want it to happen. To have behind closed doors with no fans makes no sense. It's just so that the Premier League don't give a refund back to all the TV networks. That's all it is. It's all it is. It doesn't matter about anything else. I don't care about.
No, it doesn't. It's a money, mate. It's all about a pound note. That's all it is. It is a shame. It is a massive shame.
Don't get me wrong. I want to see us to play out the rest of the season, but there's no, whatever situation happens, it's going to be dangerous no matter what.
Yeah, like I say, I know Gio and Gonzo have touched on it quite a lot in terms of the fairness with the teams that we would have been playing, you know, wouldn't have had Harry Kane's, they wouldn't have had Sons, they wouldn't have had Rashford, Man United, for example. And that's my fear as well. It just seems like, again, the timing, again, it's that classic, we've got a voodoo against our name, West Ham. I just don't see us staying up, mate. I'm just don't see it. I really don't. Do you see a scenario that we start? I just don't think our players have the mentality to play empty stadiums. We're not getting on our back. They barely raise their game when we are on their back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, from one point of view, I would actually like to watch a behind the closed doors game, just purely so we can hear what the managers are shouting, because the microphones are certainly pick it up.
You actually got a mouth on the pitch. You the quiet ones are. Do you know what I mean? So you actually
exactly
does a bit of talking on the pitch.
I mean, Ian's made a very good point in the chat here, saying not a good start in Germany. Two Dresden players tested positive, so their games have already been called off. Yeah, this is the rush. This is, I mean, everybody's been using the Bundesliga as the watermark of what to do and what not to do. But
that team now is already 2 weeks behind. Obviously, they can't play now for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
so they've got 2 weeks worth of fixtures or whatever it is, 3 games that they've got to catch up on.
Yeah.
Again, what happens then?
That's what I'm saying, mate. The logical thing is follow the French, and you know, not in any Englishman has ever said that, but follow the Frenchman, follow the French's way of doing it. Stop the season, take the table as it is, or do the fairer points per game thing. Crown the champions, relegate the people that are in the relegation zones. But I say nothing's fair. Whatever option you take, it's going to be a backlash on everybody. If we go down the same route of the calculations of points per game that the Athletic have been talking about, and we get relegated, so be it. Right? It's like you said, there's a very, very good chance we were going to get relegated anyway because of the effort that the players were or weren't putting in. So yeah, it's just that, I mean, either way, something has to be done.
Yeah. Kiwi Hammer wishes you a happy birthday, mate, on your 40th.
Cheers, AJ. He's only just woken up. It's about 10. It's about 20 past 10 over there. So he's only just woken up.
Yeah. So on that, mate, obviously, it looks like it will restart. So I say I'm very negative in terms of relegation. Would it be that bad a thing though? Now Lee from the channel, he's very vocal and he says, you know, relegation will probably be the best thing that's ever happened to us in terms of getting our club back to where it becomes a people's club. What about you, mate? What do you think? Would it be that much of a disaster if we were to go down?
Yes and no. I mean, there is a possibility that we could do a Sunderland and get relegated twice, but I can't see it. I really can't see it. I mean, anything's possible in football, mate. You know that. Going down isn't necessarily a bad thing because we get better away games for one. They're a lot more fun to watch, and likewise home games as well for that matter. Millwall at the London Stadium, don't want that to happen, mate. Really don't.
I think you could, with it as well. You could, you know, what's it called? You know, like drown down the tourist fans.
Yeah.
Then you might get that back again. You know, the real fans, and then they start getting into their real seats, and then you start building that up again. Maybe.
Yeah. Yes and no. I mean, because at the end of the day, I mean, everybody will bugger off to Chelsea and Fulham and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, right. I know. I was only joking, mate. I was only joking. But yeah, no. We would get rid of a lot of the what's the word? The payday players. The players.
Players. Oh, yeah. In terms of players,
get rid of a lot of that, and so from that point of view, it will be good. Will we get back automatically? I can't say it. Not for a couple of years, but at the same point, it might be the push that the owners would need to actually start investing properly.
I think it would be, again, like you say, yes and no. It'd be sad because, you know, it looks like someone like Bowen and the Součeks, you know, they're starting to build something now, and I think Moyes might be able to build something half decent next year.
The
Souček, the Rice, Bowen looks like a top player.
Yeah.
Get rid of potentially your Andersons. As much as I like Anderson as a player, but he hasn't had the best season this year, and I can my hands up and say that. Anzini, people like that maybe need to get out the door. What about if we stay up then, mate? What do you want to see?
I still think we need to get rid of the so-called deadwood. Bring in youth players. I mean, I really would play Grady over Felipe
Yeah,
any day
I
of the
think
week.
Grady
Really,
has to
really
start
good.
next year if we stay up. Yeah, I agree with that.
You know, having Ngakia permanently as well for that matter. Bowen, yeah. Maybe try Ben Johnson at left back.
Yeah, done well
I
there.
mean,
The two games he played, he did well.
yeah, I mean, I know he's a right-footed player and he's a right back by nature, but yeah, just try it again. At the end of the day, that's the whole point about football is bringing in should have been is bringing in the youth and seeing what they're doing. And as much as I love Creswell, I think his time's running out. Masuaku, whose time is definitely down as a left back, winger possibly, but so have Ben Johnson at left back, you know, to say just promote, just
What
try
about
and give.
Haller? Where do you stand on Haller?
Well, you know what my thoughts are of LA, mate. When that after the Brighton game, when you said, and I quote, "You've never heard me so never heard me so angry."
Colourful language.
Because I, as I said to Nicky on that day, I have desperately tried to defend Allaire as much as possible, but I gave up with him that day. I really did. I think he's got a lot of talent. The problem is the fact that we don't play to his strengths properly. But what striking have we done?
Again, the game escapes me now because it was such a long time ago. He did the Rabona flick over to Antonio. What game was that? It was a home game, wasn't it? And Bowen scored.
Yes, yeah, that was Bowen's proper debut, wasn't it? His home debut after the Liverpool game. Brighton, wasn't it? Southampton.
Yeah, that is one of the best I've seen Haller play.
You
know, because he had supporting runners there.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a shame that the season was sort of stopped at that point, because I think we may potentially have seen the real Haller a little bit there. You know, when you've got Antonio and Bowen running with it. That's my only defence of him. I think if we see him with actual support, you might see a better him. But again, you like what you say, mate. You can't put a price on effort. You know, whether you've got the support or not, you can still run about like an headless chicken to try and make something happen.
I mean, with Allaire reminds me a lot of Arnautovic, because because of the strops that both players throw a lot. Now, for example, because we were talking about it, me and my mates, we were talking about it. I think it was actually at the Southampton game as well, when Allaire can't see a goal scoring opportunity, he throws a strop. He downs tools. Let's not cut the. Let's not let's just crack. Let's all scrape away all the foam and stuff of it. So yeah, this is working slower than this, mate. It always has done.
You're 40 now.
But let's not polish up a turd on this, right? Let's just do the true facts of it. Allaire is a very, very talented player, and as I said, and as we're both talking about, we're not playing to his strengths properly, and also to the fact that when we do, we see him play. The Watford away was a prime example of that. He needs people around him. But he's, as Ryan said it a few times, I've said it quite a few times as well. He's not selfish enough. He would rather pass it to somebody else and set them up, which is not a bad thing. But when you're the talisman, you need to be scoring every shot you get, basically. And he's not doing it enough, and that's what really frustrates me about him. If we had somebody like, let's say the potential of Bowen and Diangana, that front three, I reckon, would be absolutely superb. I'm not taking anything away from Anderson. He's a 1-in-3 player, isn't he? He'll do one decent game, and then he'll have a couple of games where he's terrible. But I do think that. I do think that we need to be using Allaire properly, in the same way we should have been using Arnautovic properly, the same way that we should have been using Chicharito properly, same way we should have been using Andy Carroll properly, etc., etc.
Yeah. One player that did really start to impress me towards the end, I was very patient with him anyway, was Pablo Fornals. I think we've got a really, really good player there. I think they've gradually, he sort of found his position the team, and I think it'd be again a shame if we went down, because we'd probably lose someone like him. You can tell there's a top player in there somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, when he came in the summer, I said we need to get like the same thing with Allaire for that. Excuse me, the same thing with Allaire for that matter. We need to give him a full season to really properly judge them, because I know a lot of people, and it's understandable that people will jump on the players' backs the second they're not playing well. You know, we all do it, but with Fornals in pre-season, you could, like you said, you could see there's a player there. Chelsea away was the game that changed it. Fornals' abilities. He was so confident in that game. He had a couple of decent spells in the games up to that, but that Chelsea away game was just he's kicked on. He really has kicked on from there.
He was amazing as well. He came on the Liverpool game away. He was
we got to see the performance from. We've been seeing the performances from him that we saw in the under-21s Euros last summer. Exactly the same player, and even he said it himself a couple of weeks ago. You know, he's doing everything he can to improve himself, even under these situations. So fair play to the boy. I really, really think he's a prospect. Now, question for you, Luke: Would you play Fornals over Lanzini, or would you play both of them?
100% Fornals for me. He was slowly becoming my favourite player at West Ham. I really enjoyed the way he played. Like, he's not a ball carrier. I just liked his passing. Seemed to be very confident to get in the box and get goals. Yeah, I really liked him. I liked what he was starting to do in the team. And obviously,
Kent makes a good point. Actually, Kent hammers.
I'll go on to that. Lanzini already confirmed that he does not intend to play until the vaccine is developed. How many others are considering not playing? Well, apparently, the big one is obviously Aguero. Come out quite thingy, isn't he? Yeah, quite vocal about it.
Yeah.
You can't say nothing. You can't force a player to play in this environment.
Well, the thing is apparently, according to Claret Hugh yesterday, there's 50 players that don't want to play in the Premier League. 50. It just shows you again the reality of people versus profit when it comes to these sort of things. But that's the thing. If it's that many, I mean that's pretty much what 50 players out of 250. Right, that's a fifth of everybody. Yeah. You know, it's a fifth of the entire the normal sort of Premier League starting 11.
Like you say, it's nearly 5 teams, isn't it? It's five players short of 5 teams that don't want to play.
Exactly.
Crazy. Yeah. So as you say, mate, Kent Hammers did say, sell Anderson and bring Ollie Watkins, sell Lanzini and bring in Eze for me. I think that's how you pronounce it, Eze. Like I say, I wouldn't be opposed to Anderson going. I like the guy. I wouldn't be too opposed. I think I've said it a long time now. If selling Anderson and Lanzini means we keep hold of Declan Rice, they can go. They can go for me. What about you, mate?
100%, mate. Declan Rice is massively underappreciated in the football world. He really, really is. And it was nice to see Jamie Carragher came out the other day actually getting behind him, saying, actually, no, he can do this, he can do that. So hopefully the Sky Sports and FIFA generations are actually going to start watching games properly now. Because the problem is that when you watch our highlights on Match of the Day or the extended highlights that Sky do, you don't really get to see Dex on the ball all that much.
I think
that's why everyone's saying it.
Partially judged on an England game as well. Yeah, lots of players. I'm not just going to sit here because I'm a West Ham fan. Lots of players over the years, they have one bad game for England, usually on their debut, and then they're not good enough. They're not good enough. Like I say, Declan has controlled a lot of our games this year. There's been times where, for a young man, he's carried 11 players at some points this season.
I mean, it's like with Raheem Sterling. In the World Cup, he really pissed me off. I said, "Why? How come he's not doing what he was doing for when he was at Liverpool, and then when he moved to Man City, and then all of a sudden, this last year and a half, he's really kicked on and done it, isn't he? So, it happens. It really happens. I mean, I'm not afraid to admit the fact that I did a video after we lost to Belgium in the third tier final. What does he offer England? He doesn't. He didn't offer anything properly in the World Cup, but in the league, he's absolutely smashing it. And it's the same thing. But because he's doing all right at club level, nobody's really criticising Sterling. Yet Dex is doing brilliantly at club level, and everyone's criticising him for his England performances. He's had what 5-6 appearances now.
Yeah.
It says everything. It's like he's completed a month's worth of football if you compare it league to nation.
Yeah. I thought he's done fairly okay. I think he slated him a bit, didn't they? I remember, we didn't play that pass to Sterling on the wing. There was a lot of criticism because he didn't bring this Kevin De Bruyne-esque pass out to him. It's like it comes, do you know what I mean? It comes in time. He's a CDM at the end of the day at the minute. He's there to break up play and keep the ball rolling.
And he had a bad back pass to Henderson, which caused us to concede a goal as well. So, but he's what 21. I mean, I would challenge anybody. I would challenge anybody that's that age that has been criticising Declan if they play that well. If they play the same level as Rice, then fair play. If you don't, I don't think you should criticise him to the level he's had.
I remember his second game at Stamford, St James's Park. He tossed back again, weren't it? And it led to a goal, and we didn't see him for 5-6 weeks.
But he had 4 players around him.
Yeah, he's a young player. It happens. Do you know what I mean? It happens. And Ngakia will make a mistake. Yeah, at some point.
He's made a couple already. Yeah, tiny little things, but because everyone's got the sort of like the Glenn Johnson vision on him, nobody criticises him for it, and quite rightly so, because we know he's what 18, 19 or 20 now. He's learning.
If you've got any questions for me and JP, we're probably going to go for about another 10-15. Is there anything else, mate, that you can think that's been bugging you, or you'd like to talk about West Ham related?
West Ham related? No, there's fuck all. There's absolutely nothing.
What have you been doing during this? I know you've been doing your Ricky Gervais and a guitar and that. I'm waiting for you to I was going to make a request. Can I have Free Love Freeway, like I had to play that on the guitar? From the
all right, yeah, I'll give it a crack for you, son. Yeah, I'll give it a crack.
Put the goatee on there. You've got to do full print. Full print it.
I'll have to drink a few more beers to get the belly right as well, for that matter. But yeah. But no, it's fortunately, we're working from home at the moment, so during the week that keeps me pretty busy. I mean, it's boring as hell, but it's keeping me busy. And then literally, just the rest of my spare time is researching stuff to talk about, which, as I say, is not a lot. I mean, there's the only thing you can really say about West Ham stuff is when it actually properly appears where people are quoted. Like for example, as we talked about yesterday on the live stream, that loads of websites are starting to publish an article about Issa Diop saying that he wants to go to Spurs. You look at you read the article that it's based on, not one quote anywhere. So there's nothing really.
Us, do you know what I mean? Like you say, we're looking for bits of articles so we can talk about and give our opinions on. These journalists, like you say, most of them are making all this up. It's made up and spun. Yeah,
I mean, but there are stories there if you look in the right areas. There's, like for example, we had a very, very good debate the other day about Sean Dyche as a potential replacement for Moyes. A lot of people want him, a lot of people don't. And then a couple of days later, it appeared back on Twitter again and stuff. So it's all cyclical, because you're right, we're all trying to find things to talk about.
What about the Newcastle takeover?
If and when it happens, I'm massively pleased for him. AJ will attest to this, because we would talk about it on his channel a couple of weeks ago, and I said it's not going to be well into May before anything properly happens, and so far I've been proven right. It's great. I've been keeping tabs on it, because one of the guys in the company for morning, Gio.
Morning, mate.
One of the guys has been appointed on the board of Newcastle, so that was a week or so ago, even though it happened at the beginning of April. So it's going to happen. It's going to happen, and as I think they really deserve it. Newcastle are
absolute false.
Yeah, they will be. I mean,
will be ridiculous.
I think it's a little bit harsh to call them a sleeping giant, because they're not really a sleeping giant. I mean, sleeping giants are teams like Sunderland, Leeds.
They've been poorly run for 10 years, really, haven't they? I remember them, great team, 96 and stuff like that, 97 era. Yeah. Still getting to the Champions League, I think, up to what?
That's right. And they were very close to winning the title as well, for that matter. They're pushing Man United pretty much all the way up until, that famous Kevin Keegan quote as well, for that matter. That came from that conversation.
I work with always reminds me, goes, they're the only team lose their first 3 Champions League group games
and still qualify. Yeah.
Like they were a good side. They were a good side a few years ago.
But no, they do. They deserve it. They have a lot of similarities with us. The fan base that have hated their owners for donkey's years. Good support. A team that is very, very influential for the local community. There's the fan base are very, very similar to us. All hardworking people. It's just I've honestly I'm really, really made up for Newcastle. I really think it will do in the world of good. Will it make any difference? Well, time will tell. But I'm sure they'll have a brilliant business plan.
It'd be nice to see someone new up the top as well.
Yeah,
another team that can.
An old new team. Yeah.
Let's go into the chat here, right? So Richie says, should West Ham do a Real Madrid and move the most vocal fans together behind the goal so you can hear them singing for the whole match? Yeah, they could do that. I think it's quite hard to do, identifying the fans. It's about rebuilding that Bobby Moore lower that we had at Upton Park, just amazing, wasn't it? You stand for 90 minutes, you sing for 90 minutes. What about you, mate? What do you think on that?
I'm all for it. Bring back the crazy corner, as far as I'm concerned. That really, really helped. Like you're saying, it really, really did. I mean, I sit in the Bobby Moore lower. I stand. I should say. I don't sit in it. But yeah, and we do sing it because the ground's larger. It doesn't feel like people are singing as much as it is. But yeah, we need to bring that old spirit back, and it will come back at some point. Once
it will. You will get the. You start knowing the people around you a bit more. The confidence of people around you to sing with each other gradually grows. And I think this thing of moving the stands behind the goal a little bit closer, they're built, apparently, the stands, if what Karen Brady says, it's just a matter of getting them fitted into the stadium. But I think that could make quite a difference behind the goals. That might make a bit of a difference now.
It'll give us a bit of a boost, like the way that the claret carpet went. That was quite funny. That was all we were talking about for bloody weeks and months, was the fact, we're getting claret carpet. It's going to be a bit more West Ham. Bringing it forward is going to help a little bit. But at the end of the day, mate, it's down to us. We're the ones that are causing the atmosphere or not causing the atmosphere. It's got nothing to do with the football. I mean, it has to a degree, but I've had like, for example, that Macclesfield game, as we were talking about earlier, mate. That was a brilliant evening of football. Hardly anyone was singing because it was the Johnny Come Latelys and all the people can't really afford a ticket.
It has got potential to have atmosphere. Like our last season was the first season at London Stadium. And I know it's Tottenham and it's cliche, Tottenham's always going to be a good atmosphere. When we won that game, Lanzini, the noise that day was ridiculous. Like, we was all singing, when Tottenham effed it up and all that. Noise was ridiculous, though. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it was. That was one of the best atmospheres. I mean, both times when we've beaten Spurs have been great atmosphere. Man United last season was a great atmosphere, but it shouldn't be down to the fact that what's happening on the pitch. We should be making it ourselves. We really, really should.
Yeah. Ian says, I suppose we have no other choice but to accept the new promised neutral ground rules, because we've been informed by a football league that we would be demoted by 0.02% if we refuse to play. That was Gio did a video on that yesterday. Again, I sort of agree with what Gio was saying. I think this just screams of legal challenges.
Yeah.
If a club could prove, we were basically their arm up our back, that we had to vote for this, otherwise this would have happened. I wouldn't read too much into that, Ian, because I think lawyers are just sitting there waiting for these cases now, knowing they're going to get money.
I mean, even with the the former Premier League chief executive, who's now the Football League chief executive, was saying if the relegation things are scrapped, then, to quote him, all the lawyers are going to be very, very rich people, because it's not fair. It isn't fair. I mean, but we're in a Totally right, Joe. It is corporate
It's just
blackmail.
inspired. It's called magpieing, Gio. It's called magpieing. That's what we call it in school. When I tell children to steal Shakespeare's work, we call it magpieing. Yeah, interesting one. Interesting. It says Declan reminds me of Carrick. Reads the game so well and helps the back line. Yeah, there's definitely a Carrick vibe. I think he's slightly better in the tackle than Carrick. Carrick, for me, in his younger years at West Ham, was a little bit lightweight in the tackle. It's got the potential to go on and be like him, I think.
Definitely, his movement, 100%. You're right. He is. Carrick's timing was a lot better. I mean, Dex isn't that far off in any shape or form, but yeah, he just it was a bit smoother under Carrick. But yeah, Ben's has asked a very, very good question.
I'll go into that. And in neutral grounds will screw us. Since Moyes has come back, we haven't won away again. Yep, there is that ridiculous stat. Apparently we haven't won a game away. We even had a point away with Moyes, I think, as well. I think they may not have even got a point. I might be wrong.
Well, Gio's the stat man. He'll know that. You know the answer.
Yeah. I'm sure Gio will confirm that in a minute for us. But just ridiculous. The neutral ground will not work for West Ham. That's me going out on a whim there.
Some will say, mate, that we play at a neutral ground at home.
Yeah. I think the Premier League will force clubs to sign waivers to block any legal battles later down the pipe. Yeah, that's another way they could get around it. Look, you voted for it now. This is the way forward. You've all got to sign up to it now. You can't sue us. It's tough. But what happens if they don't vote for it? If these 7 clubs do remain stubborn and they don't hit the 14 club target, what is the realistic way forward?
Well, this is the thing, mate. The Premier League has got to go to the government saying, actually, we put it to our group, and the motion hasn't passed. So again, it's down to the government. I think you were saying last week that it's passed. It is to a degree. It's passing the buck to the government. And I see the point. Because every business in this nation has to listen to their appointed governments in order to what to do. So like we were saying earlier, mate, whatever happens, it's not gonna please everybody. It really isn't.
Do you think Calvin Phillips is better than Declan Rice? Dex is great. Yeah, Calvin's a good player. He would be a fantastic replacement if we were to sell him. If we did get that 70-80 million for him, and you were looking for someone to replace, then I would be definitely looking at Calvin now.
To be honest with you, mate, he's not a player I've watched recently, so I can't really say. I know why he's asking it, because it was all over the news yesterday, I think it was, when the old Leeds manager said that Calvin Phillips is better than Declan Rice. And that's fine, because he gets to see. That's what I'm talking about. People that were following Leeds get to see him week in, week out, and whereas we don't, and likewise those that don't follow West Ham don't see how Deck does every week. So it's totally understandable that the guy's going to say that.
We're going to go on for about another 5 minutes. 5 minutes. No, to be fair, we played at Anfield and Etihad. No fan of Moyes, but it's a tough gig for your away games. Agreed, Gio, definitely.
Well, it took us 52 years to win at Anfield, so
yeah, that's it, mate. Yeah, I don't think there's much else to talk about, mate. It's
really
great having you on. Saying here, Phillips is older. I don't think he's better.
Right, so can you talk about me or Calvin?
Rice replacement if Leeds can't come up. Slightly different players, in my opinion. Phillips is better with the ball, but I think Rice is better without it.
Fair point.
Actually, really trust Moyes, to be honest. Right, I think we'll wrap up there, mate. Right, again, big thank you to John, JPWHUTV. Go over there. Give the guy some subscribers, for his birthday. Let's get him up. He's very close. I think 2,000 is the next milestone for you.
Pretty much. Well, actually, 1600 at the minute, because if we do 1600, then there's a live gig I'm going to do for everybody.
Oh, right.
So just do something a little bit different. But yeah, thank you very much for having me on, Luke, tonight. I've reached out to quite a few other, as we talked about this morning. I've reached out to a few other YouTubers. I'm hoping to try and get everybody together tonight. Talk about West Hammers. Get you, Nikki, Ryan, Gio, Gonzo, everybody together to try. That's why I'm trying to hopefully do that. Thank you, Richie. Much appreciated, mate. And to try and get everybody. I mean, what better day to try and get everybody together? Thanks, Gio. Hope to see you later, mate. Try and get everybody together to talk about West Ham on the biggest anniversary going.
Yeah. Please tune into that. I will definitely be tuning in. Sadly, I won't be able to join you, but I'll definitely tune in and watch it, mate. Really do enjoy your content, and let's hope football's back soon and we can actually talk about some games next time we meet up and talk.
Absolutely, Sailor. 100%.
Until then, guys, come on your minds, keep believing, subscribe to us, subscribe to him. Let's go.
Take care.